What are the origins of Yule, the Vikings' Christmas? In Scandinavia they don't call it Christmas Christmas, instead they still retain the old pagan name for the Yuletide celebrations which they call Jul, pronounced Yule. Yule was a pagan festival that followed the midwinter solstice, usually around the 21st of December. It celebrated the return of the sun as the days slowly started to get longer again. The festivities, which involved lots of drinking and consuming of animals, lasted up to 12 days, hence the 12 days of Christmas. In Scandinavia it is still traditional to leave food out, usually porridge with butter, for the little red-capped tomte and his household spirits or house elves. And thus we have the tradition of leaving food, usually cookies, out for Father Christmas, who in Sweden is called the jultomte, the Yule elf. Another tradition in Scandinavia is that of the Christmas goat, whose origins are lost in the mists of time. The 𝗔𝗂𝒂𝒃 goat is nowadays usually made from straw, which indicates that it was probably once an offering from the last harvest. But other traditions have a man dressing up as goat at Yuletide, which could be distant memory of a pagan fertility ritual, or even be connected to the two goats who pulled Thor's chariot in Norse mythology. Yule is the turning of the year when, as the days slowly start to get longer, the Nordic peoples celebrated the end of the year and the return of the sun. The completion of another yearly cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The winter solstice was a particularly inauspicious the night when Odin was said to ride through the skies with the wild hunt, collecting the souls of the dead. So everyone stayed indoors feasting, afraid to go outside lest they be caught out alone and abducted by the wild hunt. The modern English word Yule comes down to us from the Middle English Yule, from the Anglo-Saxon Gil, though nowadays it is more commonly known as Christmastide or the 12 days of Christmas. However, in Scandinavia they still call it Jul, pronounced Yule or Jul. One of the many names of Odin recorded in the Icelandic sources is Jolnir, which means the Yule One, though this name probably refers to his role as leader of the wild hunt at Yule, rather than to a jolly giver of gifts. So how did Yule become Christmas? King Håkon of Norway, who was a Christian, passed a law that the Christian Christmas Day and the pagan Yuletide celebrations were to be henceforth celebrated at the same time. While this only impacted the Norwegian territories, it illustrates how these festivals were intentionally combined into one celebration. We do know that the celebration of Yule wasn't always 12 days long. The Norse text 𝗪skringla, the saga of Håkon the Good, talks about it lasting for 3 days, or as long as the ale continued. The night it began was known as Slaughter Night, where animals would be ritually slain and their blood collected in bowls to be splattered over the wooden idols of the gods and over the participants using a bunch of twigs. The animal's meat was then consumed in a feast which was known as the juleblot. Like and follow to see part 2.